Sven Goran Eriksson is known to most in English football for his spell in charge of the Three Lions between 2001 and 2006, but it was his work in his job before that at Lazio where he had arguably his greatest moments. In his 4 years in charge, Sven led the side to 4 major honours, and to date, no manager has won the Scudetto with Lazio since. This is a story of Sven Goran Eriksson, the Lazio Years. Sven Goran Eriksson had experienced a number of honours during his managerial career before taking the reins at Lazio. He won the league, 2 cups, and UEFA Cup with IFK Gothenburg, 3 league titles in the Portuguese Cup with Benfica, as well as taking to a European Cup final, and also guided both Roma and Sampdoria to a Coppa Italia title. Sven left Sampdoria in 1997 and was initially going to join Blackburn Rovers as a manager, but after he decided not to move his family away from Italy, he took the job at Lazio. The 1980s had been hard for Lazio, and they had only avoided relegation to Serie C by the skin of their teeth following a betting scandal. However, after being taken over by entrepreneur Sergio Cranotti in 1992, the club's fortunes were on the up, and having only won a solitary Scudetto in 1974, they were keen to double their tally. Roberto Mancini was brought in during Sven's first summer, along with the bold decision to sell long-serving captain Giuseppe Signori. The idea was vilified by the board, and for weeks afterwards, Lazio ultras prevented Sven from entering the training ground. However, it would soon show that Sven was onto something. Lazio finished a respectable 7th, but were also in 2 cup finals. First up was the Coppa Italia final against AC Milan. In the first leg, a last-minute winner from George Weah gave the Rossoneri the advantage, and Lazio seemed in trouble when Demetrio Albertini scored in the return leg. But Lazio soon launched a devastating retaliation. Goals from Joeno Sciordati, a penalty from Vladimir Jugovic, and a strike from Alessandro Nesta saw Lazio emerge as 3-2 winners on aggregate. It was only the second time they had won the competition, and it was only their 3rd major honour. They faced the other side of Milan in Inter for the UEFA Cup final, but this trophy was not meant to be. A Ronaldo-inspired Inter side rode their way to a 3-0 victory. However, Lazio would soon have European redemption. Lazio spent lavishly in preparation for the 98-99 season, with forward Christian Vieri coming in for a world record €25 million. He was partnered up front by Chilean Marcelo Salas, and a young Dejan Stankovic broke into the side too. They started off by winning the Super Coppa Italia, but fell just short of the Scudetto, finishing in 2nd place. In the Cup Winners' Cup, they defeated Lausanne Sport, Partizan Belgrade, Panionios and Lokomotiv Moscow to reach the final, where they faced Mallorca at Villa Park. It would be the last ever edition of the Cup Winners' Cup, so Lazio had a unique chance to keep the trophy for good. Christian Vieri played a huge part in repaying the fee when he gave his side the lead in the 7th minute with a terrific looping header, although Danny would level it for the Spaniards 4 minutes later. 9 minutes from time, a loose ball fell to Pavel Nedved on the edge of the box. The Czech blasted it in first time, and it flew into the net. Lazio held on, and had their first ever European honour. Lazio's next mission was to capture the Scudetto. They started the season by defeating treble-winning Manchester United in the Super Cup, and made further reinforcements in the form of Juan Sebastian Veron, Diego Simeone, and Simone Inzaghi. A promising start to the season saw them unbeaten in their first 9 games, but as the season carried on, it seemed as though Juventus were running away with the title. Sven was the only one who still believed, telling his players it was still possible, and dismissing the owner's views that it was impossible. Meanwhile, other silverware was in sight, as Lazio reached the Coppa Italia final again. They would face Inter over 2 legs. The first leg went swimmingly, as despite Clarence Seedorf giving Inter the lead early on, Pavel Nedved levelled before half-time. Soon into the second half, Diego Simeone scored to give Lazio the lead. The second leg was a 0-0 draw, meaning Lazio had won the Coppa Italia again and had sealed the first part of a double. Sven's predictions were starting to look shrewd, as Juventus started to falter and Lazio were catching them up. It would go to the final day. If Lazio won their game against Regina and Juventus did not defeat Perugia, the title was Lazio's. Lazio did what they needed to do, with goals from Inzaghi, Veron and Simeone taking them to a 3-0 win. There was another twist in the tale at the Juventus game. With Juventus 1-0 down, rain began to pour. The game was delayed, and Juventus were keen for a postponement, although Pierluigi Collina decided they would wait for the storm to pass. The Lazio players huddled together in the dressing room and listened to the game on the radio. They were delighted to hear that Juventus could not get a goal and lost. For only the second time, Lazio were champions of Italy and were the fourth team to complete the Italian domestic double. Sven had worked miracles, quadrupling the amount of honours in Lazio's trophy cabinet, just over a decade after they had been lost in the wilderness. Hernan Crespo was brought in, and they would win the Supercoppa Italia, but in October it was announced that Sven would be departing to take the England job next summer. Lazio faltered after this, and would not claim any more silverware in Sven's reign. He had led Lazio to 2 Coppa Italias, 1 Scudetto, and 1 European Cup Winners' Cup. Before Sven, Lazio had only won 2 major honours in their entire history. Amongst the great teams from the late 90s and early 2000s, Sven's Lazio side are commonly overlooked, which is a crying shame. Their victories were incredible, propelling a moderately successful club to the elite, with Simone Inzaghi and Diego Simeone, both players in this side, going on to be successful managers. Sven's legacy is plain to see. Whilst in England, we remember Sven for his England spell. What he did at Lazio was incredible. The club's fortunes were changed forever by the Swede, and they have not won another Scudetto since his time in charge. The club would be incredibly different without the wonders the Swedish manager worked, and because of that, there will always be a seat reserved at the sky blue side of the Stadio Olimpico for Sven Goran Eriksson.